She's been dictating to this district for 46 years. I think that's way too long for anyone to be empowered. We have a Mugabe in Dallas, and we need to get rid of the Mugabe.
I'm Eric Williams, candidate for U.S. Congress, District 30, Dallas, Texas. Growing up as a young boy in a segregated Dallas, did I ever dream of becoming an international photojournalist and filmmaker, and someday run for public office? My father and mother raised me in a middle-class family. My father worked as a machinist, and my mother worked as a silicon bomb specialist, and later for the sheriff's department. They instilled in me a compassion for all people. Later in life, my awakening in my life journey began with a miracle. As a student at Carter, I was introduced to photography by a white teacher named Miss Miracle. While at Carter High School, I, along with a friend, integrated the Dallas Morning News as the first African American in the photography department. She changed my life and put me on a world journey, and I thank God today for her, and I've never looked back. I would later attend one college and 2 universities and study journalism. My life forever changed when I became the first African American to win the most prestigious National College Photographer of the Year award for the entire United States, and later became the first African American photojournalist and filmmaker at National Geographic magazine.
He began his career at the Dallas Morning News as a lab tech in 1983. Since then, he's worked for the San Antonio Light, the Topeka Capital Journal, the Hartford Courant, the Detroit News, National Geographic, the Boston Globe.
Photojournalist Eric Williams has seen a lot of things through his lenses: war in Bosnia, AIDS in Africa, revolution in Haiti.
My past has helped shape my future because, like you said earlier,
you have empathy.
I'll be for everybody, not just
I believe that. I believe that. I mean, sure.
Because my experiences have taught me that.
No, absolutely. I think you will be, and I think you can be a peacemaker too.
Absolutely.
Because you see everyone as a human being, and that is really central to why you were such a fine photojournalist, because you're able to see the best photojournalists are humanists and able to see behind all the facade of people and analyze them empathetically for who they are and understand what the real issues are.
Williams has worked for National Geographic. His documentaries have aired on CNN and MTV.
When I won the National College Photographer Award.
Oh, okay, to remind me about it, because that was a high point in my career too.
You said, hey, I got a good one for you. You need to go photograph Rosa Parks over at the museum.
Oh, did I give you that?
Yeah, I'm telling that Rosa Parks thing, man. It touched something. It touched because we had a deep discussion that day. She and I, God had just given me just enough time to have a deep discussion with this lady. The one and only discussion I ever had with her by myself, just she and I. And that moment.
This week, we've seen just how desperate the people of Haiti are to flee their homeland. Photojournalist Eric Williams has captured their despair firsthand. His work explores the realities of living in the Northern Hemisphere's poorest nation.
Traveling the world through my photography has been a gift from God and compassion for human rights.
An Atlanta filmmaker journeyed to Sri Lanka 3 days after the tsunami, and he spent 3 weeks capturing the human side of the disaster. His name is Eric Williams. He's preparing a documentary that's going to be titled Walking Wounded.
The stench of death was still in the air. The devastation was everywhere.
3 days after the disaster struck, independent filmmaker Eric Williams traveled to the region with his camera, and the result is a new documentary called Walking Wounded, The Great Tsunami. Good morning.
Good morning.
It started with people like you.
I'm glad.
Having faith and belief in this black boy. You know what I'm saying? Because in that particular point in time, in our history, we were, as African Americans, there wasn't too many of us in the industry at that time.
No.
Still not today, really.
Since leaving Dallas in the late 80s, my camera has taken me all around the world, covering stories and impacting public policy on a global stage.
It's filmmaker Eric Williams' latest project, documenting the efforts of Sheikh Hassan Haj Mohammed, head of an Irving-based Muslim charity called Beta Mall, dedicated to feeding the world's hungry.
And I remember you crawled through there. You got to a scene and the cops, did their cop thing.
Right.
And I think you got a picture though, didn't you?
Yeah, it was the front page. The paper.
Yeah, okay, thanks. You got the picture.
You guys displayed it, the full because I never forget the phone call. You say, hey man, you got the front page. It's going to be the full length of the paper.
Trying to bring a little bit of Africa to Atlanta this February, the Tour of Light provides an opportunity to heighten awareness of the critical state of Uganda and its AIDS-related orphan crisis. Joining us this morning is documentary filmmaker Eric Williams to tell us all about it.
My desire to give back to my community has been forthcoming and forthright, with hope and prosperity for the future.
Mr. Eric Williams, a filmmaker who has moved here to Dallas from Atlanta and has traveled to Africa documenting what's happening now in Africa. Welcome to Insights, my friend.
These kids and babies had weeks. I mean, some of these kids and babies that I filmed are probably already deceased.
Filmmaker Williams worries both about Hassan and the people he's trying to help.
You still got the energy, man. Your head was, back then, it was always turning. It was always turning. You were always thinking ahead of the next big thing.
Educators in DeSoto looking for innovative ways to engage young students believe they have something big. A documentary filmmaker is driving a classroom on wheels.
Cultivating that potential.
So y'all pay attention to the shots.
Dallas documentary filmmaker Eric Williams, who's using his expertise and his classroom on wheels to teach students at McCowan Middle School in DeSoto ISD.
I came home and created a mobile technology classroom to teach media technology to students in my hometown. This has been the most rewarding give back in my life, to inspire youth and give back to them and share my life experiences that I had.
When these DeSoto High School students board this decked-out bus on January 18th, they'll be on their way to witness history. 3/5 countdown to history.
Well, this is, to me, an educational, historical journey.
They'll be in Washington, D.C. the day Barack Obama takes the oath of office.
Our game plan is really to take them on this journey, let them document it, put it together, and provide them with the necessities that they need to do the job.
You're eloquently vocal when you have to be.
Yes.
To achieve, achieve a good.
I've been a lifelong Democrat, man. I consider myself now a victocrat because we've been victimized by both of these damn parties.
Children that I don't even know, but I care about, put in this type of facility.
Folks where you are very lucky to have, you've always had a lot of ingenuity. You understand the world from having personally witnessed it and be involved. You're ambitious and you have always fought for what's right, even if it's hard to do. And I think you'll make a good congressman.
I travel all over the globe and then come back home. My home is still dirty and raggedy, hadn't prospered. And then I can't do nothing about my own house. And no, I gotta do something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. So it's in God's hands.
The Court of the American Pavilion and the official Cannes Festival. I want to introduce Eric Williams, who is doing a documentary.
Hello, I'm Eric Williams, candidate for U.S. Congress, District 30, Dallas, Texas. Too much is at stake this year. We can no longer afford to be divided. I'm running as an independent voice because both of our parties are broken and term limits have run amok. We need to have unity to come together. It is time to become free agent voters once again. Voters with clout. It's time to become voters who can decide elections instead of voters who are taken for granted. We need jobs for our youth and families. We don't need more low-paying wage jobs. We need 21st century jobs, technology jobs. I'm running to change the status quo and liberate our country and our community from years of neglect. I want to show people the impossible can become the possible. Elect Eric Williams for U.S. Congress, District 30, this November 3rd. And together, we can win. Political advertisement paid for by Eric Williams.